door, and it looks like there was like a big storage behind that door. Just when Matilda opened it, he had a small glimpse of a large corridor with shelves going on like forever. Now, after that meeting, they just went back to their normal lives, and Brandon just took in consideration Matilda's story for the future. One day, after a couple of weeks, Brandon was walking downtown because he had a meeting with a friend, and at a restaurant that's very close to the center of the city. After that, this is a junior high school friend that he hadn't seen in years. So just by chance, he found his phone number, and he decided to call him, and they make an appointment to see each other at this restaurant, which was convenient for both because it was specifically in downtown. Both of them live in different sides of the town. So after this reunion ends, he decided to go back home. It was a little late, and he didn't brought his car with him because it's a little complicated to move in downtown or park in downtown. So he decided to take an Uber there, and he decided to do the same again. But there's this Central Park in the city, and he said, well, let me just take a small walk because it's been years that I've been here, and I want to see this park again just a little bit. So he decided to take a walk into the park, and he didn't know exactly why he took that decision, but he went along with it. So when he arrived to the middle of the park, he saw something flashing near the fountain that's exactly in the middle. Not in the fountain, but at one side in one of the gardens. So he decided to take a closer look at it, and then he realized it was a human-shaped creature just looking at him with no legs, shining and floating like 20 centimeters above the ground. Then he lost conscience, and he woke up again, or he recovered conscience again, and he looked around. He was exactly in the same spot he was before, but the ghost that he saw was no longer there. He thought that was strange, but he didn't put too much attention to it. Now, he remembered he was going back home, so he decided to do that. He took his phone, called the Uber, and just wait for it and went back home. Now, after a few days, Alex called back and said, you know what, we have a case. Do you want to come with me? This is in a hospital. It's a very old hospital that's near downtown as well. So it was one of the first hospitals of the city, if not the first one, because before that there were small clinics all around. But this was the first, let's say, big hospital that the city had. So it has a construction that's from the 1800s, the late 1800s. It's a concrete building with wooden floors in some spots. And so Brandon accepted the Alex offer. Now he felt like he was a real ghostbuster or a real exorcist or something. So he went along, and they met at the entrance of this hospital, and there was this security guard. They went there at night, and they asked for the person that called them, and was a doctor. Dr. Gonzalez. So Ramiro Gonzalez. So he asked him to wait because it was late at night and they were trying to enter an area that was not for general public. So they were there just talking about the recent events. So Brandon talked about the event in the park and how strange it was and what it could mean or anything. And Astor was not surprised about it. He just nods and say, "Oh, okay. I guess some stuff like that will start happening to you from now on. So just get used to it." And so after a small couple of minutes, Dr. Gonzalez arrives and asks them, "Okay, Dr. Gonzalez present himself." Alex introduced Brandon because Dr. Gonzalez wasn't expecting him, and he said, "Well, Brandon will help me with this situation if you don't mind." And so they went upstairs, and the doctor said, "You know, I'm a man of science. I'm a doctor. I don't believe in this stuff, but I saw it with my own eyes, and this thing is real." You know, hospitals, as everybody knows, are very charged with life energy, and that energy is absorbed by entities that for random reasons end up there. So the doctor told them about this is something Alex knew, but Brandon was kind of new on it. He read about it, but he had never seen anything like this before. So Dr. Gonzalez told him, "Well, this is an old area of the hospital. We have a nurse that comes here, help the patients. So it's not creating problems other than giving medication that we were supposed to give to the patients. Now, the patients are sure that they see it and they receive the medication. So when the nurse comes, they try to give them the medication. They say, you know, a previous nurse just came here and gave it to me." So that is creating a lot of confusion, and that was going on for years, for more than 20 years. So all the workers on the hospital were aware of this, and they some of them have claimed to see it, and I never take that seriously until I saw it myself. So this guy was a let's say high-ranking director of this hospital, and he didn't believe what he saw, and he wasn't sure. So until he saw it for a second time, that's what he said. And then, well, you know, this is not a real problem, but it's kind of annoying, and if you can get rid of it, I will appreciate it. So Brandon proceeded to do what he always do, and Alex said, "You know what? You don't need to do that anymore. That's what you were doing was like a magnificator of the ghost power, so you could interact with them. Right now, the only thing you have to do is take the book and read it." And Brandon was a little confused and annoyed by Alex telling him to change his ways, but he said, "Well, let's try and see if you're right." So he took out the book and started reading. After a while, they saw this illuminated area in one of the corners of the room, so they go there. They went there, and there it was. It was the nurse. So they start talking to her, and what she said, "Well, I work here, I do this, I do that." And they told him, "You know what, we appreciate what you're doing, but you are no longer alive." She was kind of surprised of this. It seems that she hasn't realized she was dead. And the only thing she wanted to do is help on the patients that were sick and doing his job as she always did. So after a couple of explanations and tests that they asked the ghost to do, they realized that her name was Clara, and they were trying to explain her that she was dead, and so they asked him, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And she realized, she just came to the realization that she was no longer alive. Then Brandon lost conscience, and again, and he woke up, and Alex just was behind him and said, "Okay, everything's fine now. She's gone, and thank you for your help." And Brandon said, "Well, what happened to her?" He said, "She's just gone. Don't worry about it. She's in a better place now." This was the first time that Brandon was actually interacting with non-living, and other than just feeling something or seeing shiny stuff or things like that. This was the actual first time that he saw a ghost on the flesh, and like in flesh, it looked very, very clear. So he was talking about this to Alex, and Alex explained, well, what happened is that these environments are a very low, have a very large charge of energy, and this type of ghosts have a lot of energy to feed with and are more easily to see. Also, it seems like your vision is increasing, and you have more capacity now than before. So they were talking about all this stuff. Brandon asked more about the book. Alex explained what the book was. It seems that this was a transcription or a copy of an ancient spells book with very old Romanian European origins. How this knowledge ended up in Romania, it's part of a mystery, but turns out someone translated there. From there, it was kept from some societies until it ended up in America. But this is not the original book. It's just a transcription, a copy and translation of the original. The original is lost. Nobody knows exactly where it is, but many people think it is kept by a very strong magician that lives somewhere in Europe. And some speculate that it's in the north of Italy, and as part of a cult that exists there. But other than that, nobody really knows that as a fact, just rumors and stuff. So now Brandon have a kind of an idea of the origin of the book and why did it work. So after this incident, a couple of weeks passed, maybe even 1 or 2 months, and Alex called again, and he said, "You know what? We have another mission. You agree?" And well, at this time, Brandon was pretty much into it. There's no reason to say no. So they agree. This time was another hospital. It seems like Dr. Gonzalez talks a lot, and some doctor from another hospital that's not close to downtown or a little bit more far away had a similar problem, and that Dr. Gonzalez will hear about it, and he talked to his friend about these guys that help him with this, and probably they can help with the situation there. Well, this is a more modern clinic. In this case, is Dr. Samaripa who called them, and this is a government hospital. So all the arrangements were done kind of below the table, because obviously the government will not accept paying for this supernatural stuff. But the situation was becoming really annoying and really problematic for this place, that even people from all over the medical institutions in town knew about this. Even Brandon had heard the rumors about this place. So it was a very famous situation that everybody knew about it, but nobody, and everybody whispered about it, but the people that's really involved never confirm or deny the situation until now that Dr. Samaripa called them. So Brandon say for himself, you know, so all the rumors were truer. And so they arrive and they present each other, and we'll say, well, Dr. Samaripa said, well, you know, we have a very similar problem. We have one floor of this clinic closed. This is a 10-floor clinic, and one of the floors which belongs to one department, which cancer research, was closed for no apparent reason, and they moved all this department to other area and to other floor, and they moved all the other situation just to accommodate this new situation that was happening. So this floor is closed, and nobody is allowed to go there, because when somebody enters, it gets really sick. After, well, what happens is at the beginning they realize people that work there and patients were dying, and the personnel that worked there were also getting very sick, and some of them even died. They all got hospitalized, and so they decided that there was something contaminated in the area. They took samples and everything. They found a fungus, so they decided to attack the fungus with chemicals and everything, but they couldn't get rid of it. So they decided, you know what, this is we have already 10 patients died. We have 3 crew members died. We have 10 crew members very sick because of this. We need to close this floor. And so they decided to close the floor and never talk about it again. So this was the story that Dr. Samaripa told him. So this was not a very old thing. It was something that had happened like 5 years ago, when they closed the floor and they decided not to let anybody in. So they proceed with it. The doctor gave them some clothes that were used for biohazard environments. So this white overall cloth and filter masks. Oxygen tanks were not necessary in this case, because we were talking about some kind of fungus. Now, why is it that they think this is supernatural? Because some apparitions that people were talking about. Again, a nurse was appearing, but this nurse was not helping the patients. This nurse was killing them. So just a couple of patients talk about the nurse trying to kill them. At the beginning, nobody believed them until everybody got sick, and then they just closed the floor and forgot about it. So they try everything and scientifically possible to clean the floor, and they were unable. So you know what? Let's try this. Let's try this and see what happens. So they went in. The doctor stepped outside. The place was dark. The walls looked dirty, like something was in fact on the walls and was like corroding them. The lights didn't work because the lack of maintenance. They just blow and nobody went in there to change them. So it was a very dark environment, apart from some